Assalamu alaikum, welcome back you guys to the channel. I'm super excited for this one. We'll build a very cool and full of animation hero section using Next.js, Tailwindcss and Motion. Let's get started. So Motion is a React library for animations. There is an infinite amount of animations that you can build. To make things easier, let's get started with a very simple example. So we'll try to create a very simple fade-in animation to this text using Motion. So first thing, let's install Motion. After running your local server, let's import Motion. In order to animate this element, we need to add Motion here. And if you're familiar with keyframes in CSS, Motion is similar to that. We need to define some states right here. The first one is initial, and we can start with opacity, for example, 0. The second one is animate, and let's give it opacity 1. And as you can see, the fade-in animation is done. After having this small introduction about Motion, we can start our build. All you need to do now is clone the GitHub repo, all the links down below, install all your node modules, and let's get started. Now let's have an overview about the animations we'll be building today. The first one will be the splash screen, as you can see, followed by the title animation, the pictures and the content, without forgetting about this small wavy hand. After cloning the repo, head over to the starter branch and let's get started with the splash screen animation. Same steps. First thing to do is to import motion, and here is the splash screen. All we need to do is to add motion div here, and let's define the states. So the initial state will be a height of 100. The animate state will be 0% height with this cool transition effect. Now that we have the splash screen animation done, let's head over to the title animation. If we take a close look, we will notice that the title is animated with the fade-in animation, but each letter fade in separately. So let's see how we can build that. Now head over to Components, Animated Letters, and this is the component of the title. As you can see, it takes title as a props, and we have some comments here to make things easier for you guys to follow up. So as we said, each letter should be animated separately. So the first thing that we need to do is to split the title into words. Next step is to split the words into letters. Then the last step is to add spacing between each words so we can have the full animation correctly. And this is exactly what I did here. I split the title into words, then I split the words into letters. Last step is to add spacing between words. Now let's try to map through the words and return spans to each letter. Now after mapping through the words array and returning each element in a separate span, let's see how we can animate the letters. With the exact same steps, let's import motion and let's turn this span into a motion span. Motion gives us the choice either to put the animation states here or to make the code cleaner, put them in a separate file as I did here. Head over to variants, animations, and you can find the full animations that we will need in this tutorial. So as you can see, we start the letter animation with a vertical position of 200% and a visible state with a 0%, and this will give us the fade-in animation. We didn't use the opacity here because we have overflow hidden in the container of the spans. Now how we can use this animation into our spans? We can introduce variants, and after importing animations folder variants, we can specify which animations we want right here. Nothing's gonna happen yet because we need to specify the state's name into the container. Have hidden and visible and all the animations we have. So head over to index. In the section components, we'll try to turn it into a motion component. Then we can specify an initial state with hidden and an animate state visible. And now we can have the fade-in animation, but not yet the full fade-in separate letters animation that we want. Technically, Framer Motion try to fade in all the letters in the same time because they are all in one component called animated letters. So we need to tell Framer Motion to add a delay between each letter to have the full animation. How we can do that? If you head over to animations.tsx again, you can see letter container animation, and we can introduce now staggered children. And what does it mean? It means the delay that we want between each children of that component. Head over now to index.tsx, wrap up the animated component letters with a div, then turn it to a motion div. Then we can add the variants here of animation container. And as you can see now, each word gets animated separately. But if we take a close look, we can see that it's not the letters but the words. So this is not the result that we want. So what we need to add is, if we go back to animated letters, technically this map function returns each word into a span because we have the words array and we have nested arrays with the letters. So how we can make all the nested letters turn into one array? So we have a very handy function from JavaScript called flat. So we can flat all the nested array into the one array words. Let's add flat here. And now if you go back and see the result, you can see that each letters get animated separately. One quick note here, I'm using mix blend difference and text white, PG white also for the container to make the title color blend with the overlay or the background. So in that way we can have that cool effect changing colors of the title. Now if you go back to animations.tsx again, here we can see that we have fade in right animation and fade in left animation and also the picture animation. So with the same steps, head over to index and add variants to each container. Now as you can see, we have all the animations, the picture, the content, the splash screen and also the title. But we have a small problem here again, is the order. We want to define a specific order of the animations. So here we can introduce onAnimationComplete function. And this is provided from Framer Motion and it's very useful in our use case. So what we can do here is to define two use states. The first one is to show the image and the second one is to show the content. And both of the states are initially false. So we want the splash screen and the title to go first. Then after the splash screen animation is completed, we need to set the show image state to true, then conditionally render the image. Let's head over to the picture and let's add the states to conditionally render it. Show image, head over to the splash screen, let's add onAnimationComplete. We can run a function here and set the show image to true. In that way, we will have the splash screen first, the title, then the image. And we can do the same exact process for the content. Now to the last animation, and in my view the coolest one. Head over to Tailwindcss and you can see that I already created a keyframe called Wave with a simple rotation and an animation infinite of 3 seconds. Head over to index.tsx and I just added here animated wave. And yeah, this is our hero section animated using Framer Motion. Hope you like it. Let me know what you think in the comment section. See you in the next video. Peace.